Today we're going to be having a delicious Salisbury steak with gravy and onions. Not to mention, we're also going to be serving it up with garlic mashed potatoes and maybe a side of creamed corn and maybe some cornbread if you're lucky. All right, but anyway, with all of that being said, let's get to cooking. We have about 1.5 pounds of ground beef in this bowl. We have grated onions. Now here's the thing, this is not Vidalia onions, but this is yellow onions because it's more savory. You can also use white onions for this recipe as well. We're going to add that to the party. Add some beef bouillon. That's going to amplify the flavors. We're also going to add a small pinch of salt and ground black pepper, Dijon mustard. Let's add some ketchup. The breadcrumbs that I chose for this recipe is garlic and herb. However, if you have an Italian style breadcrumb or even plain breadcrumbs, you can use that as well. All right, let's add our dried seasonings. Let's add some garlic powder. All right, we're also going to add some onion powder to season things up just a bit. Let's add some smoked paprika. I keep forgetting. And we're going to add some of my all-purpose cooking with Tammy seasoning. Going to add a good amount. We're going to add some Worcestershire sauce, small amount of heavy cream, 1 egg. Combine all of the ingredients together. Now here's the thing, right? Because this is ground beef, we're not going to overmix. But we are going to combine all of the ingredients throughout the ground beef. When it comes to the recipe ingredients and the measurements especially, you want to make sure you follow everything through and through, simply because you don't want to end up with your meat being too soft or basically adding too much breadcrumbs, right? So instead of you having that nice delicious melt in your mouth Salisbury steak, instead your steak, it just tastes like breadcrumbs, and that's not cool. All right, everything seems to be mixed in perfectly. The main goal when formulating our patties is you want to be able to mold it and form the steak and have it stay together just like this. All right, that right there to me is a perfect indication that we have the right amount of ingredients going on in our bowl. All right, just like that. And once we're done, we're going to take our finger, put a little hole in the middle to give it that Salisbury steak look. Gonna smash it out just a little bit more, and this should be perfect. All right, when it comes to the Salisbury steak, make as many as you want. If you want to make 5 or 6, or if you want to stretch it, and you know, basically what I'm saying is if you want to make it smaller, you definitely can. If you want to make the patties larger in size, you can do that as well. Smell really good. Not to mention the Worcestershire sauce is definitely coming through. Ooh, smells good. All right, we're down to the last one. All right, just make that little indentation. Let's get our skillet with some hot oil, about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's get to searing our patties. Let's add some oil to our pan. Gonna add enough oil. Gonna place the first one down. We're gonna brown our steaks for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. We don't have to cook them all the way through because we're gonna be adding them to our beautiful gravy in a second. Allow that excess oil to drain off, and let's sit it on a clean plate. We're going to set these aside for a second while we work on making our delicious onion style gravy. Now here's the thing with this pan, right? As you can see, obviously we have too much oil going on. So I'm going to strain off a good amount of the oil. I'm going to leave, I want to reserve about maybe 2 tablespoons of oil. That's all we're going to need, about 2 to 3. The pan is still hot, so we're going to add some butter. All right, let's lower the flame because I want to maintain that control. Butter is almost melted, so in goes the onions. I have about, I want to say about 2 large size onions that we sliced up. However, when it comes down to the onions, add the amount, add the amount that you like. If you like small onions, or should I say less onions, add less onions, and so on and so forth. We're going to cook the onions down until they become golden brown. Once they start to develop some color, then we're going to add our other ingredients. We're going to separate the rings. All right, just use a spatula to get that done. Press it right in the center, and that should be it. All right, if all of them are not separated, it's totally okay. We're going to be able to separate them the more we toss them around the pan later on. But for now, we're just concentrating on the color and the flavors. Medium heat is the way to go for this job. Let's add some portobello mushrooms. If you have shiitakes on hand, you could add shiitake mushrooms. However, if you are not a mushroom fanatic, hold back on the mushrooms, but continue following through with the recipe. We're going to cook our mushrooms down for about 2 to 3 minutes or until they become slightly tender. All right, we have more than enough butter in this pan to get the job done, which is a great thing. Just like any type of veg or greens, right? Mushrooms, they break down really, really fast. See, everything is cooking down nicely. At this point in time, let's add some finely chopped garlic. All right, garlic is perfectly chopped and ready to go. Let's heat this garlic on up. All right, make sure you cook the garlic properly. You don't want a tummy ache. All right, because garlic is very pungent and very strong. That's why it's really important to allow it to cook down for at least a good 30 seconds, right? Allowing all of those delicious flavors that we love so much to be extracted from the garlic. Let's incorporate it with our onions and mushrooms. Mix that on up really, really well. Sometimes you start to smell garlic before the 30 seconds, to be honest with you, depending on how hot the pan is. Add some all-purpose flour. And all-purpose flour is going to act as a thickening base for our delicious gravy. We're going to stir that on in really, really good. Same thing with the flour. We're going to cook the flour for about a minute or so until the flour is perfectly toasted before adding any wet ingredients. All right, you don't want that doughy tasting gravy. You want your gravy to be rich in texture, but most importantly, delicious in flavor. My indicator when it comes down to flour and adding it as a thickening base for any type of gravy is once I start to see it stick to the bottom of the pan, that's good enough for me. It's like, okay, I know that you're toasting and you're doing your thing. We're gonna add some beef broth. All right, let's get that in there. Stir that up really good. At this point in time, we're going to try to get all of the bits at the bottom lifted from the bottom of the pan. All right, we're just going to stir it. The bottom is starting to feel deglazed, which is a good thing. All right, we're getting all of those bits from the bottom. This is like a 3-for-1 ramekin. We have ground black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. I didn't feel like pulling out 100 ramekins, so I decided to add everything inside of one ramekin, and that's it. Got to make it easy sometime, right? We also have some Worcestershire sauce, right? That's going to bring out a delicious flavor element in our sauce. What's going to help it out even more is some low sodium soy sauce as well. All right, let's go in there with our flavorful beef bouillon. Add all of it, why not, right? Let's add some Cooking with Tammy all-purpose seasoning as well in order to brighten up the flavors. A little bit of smoked paprika. I'm not going to utilize a heavy hand with the seasonings. Just a little bit of everything would be perfect. All right, we're going to allow this to come to a slow simmer. And if you want to add some browning sauce or kitchen bouquet, you definitely can. It's going to give it an even more in-depth flavor, and it's going to darken the color slightly. To give our sauce a great deal of decadency, let's add some heavy cream. Let's incorporate that really good throughout the gravy. Let's add some Dijon mustard to the mix. Add our patties back to the pan. Perfect. Never mind our patties looking kind of rustic, okay? Looking a little rough around the edges. That's okay. Once they start to simmer in the sauce, they're going to look nice and beautiful because they're going to pick up all of that color from the gravy. Not to mention, it's going to be cooked all the way through at this point in time, and they're going to look marvelous. We're just going to spoon some of the gravy and onions on top of the steaks. Allow them to pick up on the flavors for about 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to lower the flame, allow everything to continue simmering for about 18 to 20 minutes, covered with a lid, of course. All right. If you don't have a lid, grab that aluminum foil and cover it down. Add our potatoes to the boiling water, but first let's add some salt. Give the water a little flavor because the water is flavorless. You don't want to boil flavorless potatoes, all right? You want to lock in that flavor from the beginning. All right, everything is situated. Cover it down and let it go for about 20 minutes. I'm going to strain our potatoes. Let's also add a small pinch of salt, just a small pinch, nothing crazy. We're also going to add some garlic powder. And let's mash our potatoes. When it comes down to the butter, the option is totally yours, whether or not if you're going to add unsalted or salted butter. Just know that if you add salted butter, you want to scale back on anything that has salt. All right, let's get in there and let's grate some Parmesan cheese to our potatoes. They're nice and hot, so of course the Parmesan is going to melt really quickly. All right, let's get that in there as well. I'm going to use my spatula to clean off the potato masher. Once we're done, I'm going to add some heavy cream. However, you could add half and half or even 2% or whole milk. Knowing me, I'll probably add some more Parmesan cheese. Add a small amount of milk, all right, because you want your potatoes to have body and substance. Once we get to our desired texture, then we are going to put this aside and go and check on our cornbread. You can see in this bowl we have equal parts all-purpose flour along with our refined cornmeal. We're also going to add some sugar to the mix. Use brown sugar, use whatever you prefer. You know what I'm saying? In this bowl right here, another 3 for 1. We have baking powder, baking soda, and we also have a pinch of salt. That's going to go in. And that's it for the dry ingredients. All right. Let's stir this on. Combine all of the dry ingredients together. Make sure you use that whisk to get all of those little nooks and crannies. We're just going to put that to the side. All right, to this large size measuring cup, we're going to add some buttermilk. All right, my kids, my family love sweet honey cornbread. Let's add some pure vanilla extract. We love the vanilla extract, it's so delicious. Let's add some melted butter along with our large eggs. Alrighty. And we're going to mix that on up. Whisk that in really good. Bring back in our dry ingredients. And we are going to incorporate our wet with our dry. Alright. Last but not least, we're going to add our honey. I totally forgot to add the honey. Can't have sweet cornbread without the honey. Yeah, the sugar is going to make it sweet, but you want that extra sweetness as well. All right, I'm going to grab another bottle of honey behind me, and that's about it. Everything is mixed perfectly. All right, let's get the pan. Let's grease it on up. Preheat that oven, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook, or should I say, not cook. We're going to bake our cornbread for about 15 to 18 minutes. Let's add some honey to our butter for our cornbread. About half a tablespoon is perfect. I'm just going to mix it up. Make sure the honey and the butter is perfectly combined. And that's it. Let's go doctor up our cornbread. All right, let's get this honey butter onto the cornbread. As you can see, it came out perfect. Perfectly baked. All right, I'm going to add all of it and we're just going to spread it on, of course, and that's it. This is good. It's gonna, all of that beautiful butter and honey is gonna seep into the cracks of the cornbread, so when you bite into it, you're gonna get that little pocket of honey butter. For the southern style honey buttered corn, we are gonna need some butter. At least 3 tablespoons of butter. That's about 2, and this is about 3. The reason why the butter is different colors is simple, all right? It's 2 different brands of butter. One is imported and one is not. All right, let's add our frozen corn to the pan. combine our corn with the butter. Let's pick up on all of that nice buttery flavor that the butter has to offer. Once you start to hear the corn sizzle, all right, to that we're going to add a small amount of granulated garlic. We're also going to add some onion powder. Let's add some smoked paprika. All right, nice little smoky element going on. I'm going to add some of my all-purpose cooking with Tammy seasoning as well. Jazz up the flavors. Let's stir the seasonings on in. Fresh cracked black pepper. Stir that up as well. This looks beautiful. Let's add some heavy cream. A couple tablespoons is perfect. Let's add some honey to give it a nice sweetened flavor. We're going to stir everything up, make sure everything is perfectly combined. At this point in time, you want to lower your flame. It's starting to get a nice glazy color. Going to add a little bit more heavy cream. I want a nice creamy element going on in this pan. Give it a good taste. See if you need to add any additional ingredients. And if not, turn the stovetop off. Let's add a small amount of parsley just to jazz it up a bit. We're pulling everything together. So for the corn, we're going to add a small dollop of sour cream, and that's going to give it a nice creamy flavor as well. Now here's the thing. Initially, I wanted to add cream cheese to this recipe. However, my Instacart person did not pull the cream cheese, so luckily I had some sour cream in the refrigerator. The other thing is this. You could use mascarpone cheese or some more heavy cream as a substitute, like I said, for the cream cheese if you don't have sour cream either. And that's just basically it. If you don't have either or, then just leave it out and just up the heavy cream, and that would work out perfectly fine as well. But this, as you can see, is good to go, and it's time for us to eat. As you can see, potatoes are beautifully mashed, nice and fluffy and soft. Today we're going for a nice smooth whipped consistency. A spatula and gather up our Salisbury steak, and we're going to rest it right there. As you can see, the potatoes have the perfect consistency going on, right? Our potatoes are not sinking to the bottom of the plate due to the fact that we added our steak. Add some more gravy. I am a gravy girl, and I'm hoping that you love gravy as well. Let's go in for some of our beautiful creamed corn. I'm going to add it right here to the plate, along with all of that beautiful cream buttered sauce. Woo! That's gorgeous. Let's get a nice square of cornbread. All right, and this is still hot, but most importantly, look at, ooh. All right, and we're gonna add that right there, and guess what? Sunday dinner is ready to be served. A little bit of parsley for garnish, and let's get it, family. Let's eat. As you can see, the meat is perfectly cooked, nice and tender. It breaks apart easily. All right, I'm chasing my food on the plate. This is crazy. Let's get some of those mushrooms as well. Happy Sunday, because we've entered into food paradise. My goodness. Replicate this recipe ASAP, and you're not going to be disappointed. Everything is absolutely marvelous, my loves. Marvelous, delicious, creamy, decadent, savory, and the cornbread has a perfect hint of sweetness along with the corn to cut through the savoriness of the steak. This is so good. Be sure to get your seasonings at cookingwithtammy.shop. You don't have to be a phenomenal cook in order to rock out with the seasonings and make delicious food. And that's about it, my loves. We all have some eating to do, and I would advise you to try this recipe out because it's going to be so worth it. But for now, I definitely catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys. I'm going high.